Yep.
What's going on? You're on the cheappop.com. My name is Plotkin, and I'm standing here with the effervescent, incomparable, multi-hyphenate entertainer, Andrew W.K.
Oh, thank you, Plotkin. Too kind, but I'll take it. I'll take all that.
Well, let's run through singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentally talented musician, spoken word artist.
No, just lecturer.
Just lecturer. Okay, so you wouldn't call yourself like a philosopher?
Not really, no, because I don't have any training in that,
Okay.
and very little studying. But it's a different way to party, just using talking and hyping up. It's more like a hype session, like a pep rally.
Well, if anybody is in that for like, not motivational speaking, but
Bubbling
speaking
up.
that gets people motivated.
You want to bubble up, like effervescence.
Yeah.
Like
Alka-Seltzer. A room full of human Alka-Seltzer.
Airborne, Emergency, of course,
Yeah.
is effervescent. There's a new one now that Bayer from Germany has been making and bringing over to the U.S. called Barocca.
Barocca? Is it good? Have you tried it?
I haven't tried it, but my friend Matt tried it this morning and said he almost felt too good.
Uh-oh.
He said, this doesn't make any sense, something's going on here, I just got up 20 minutes ago off 4 hours of sleep, and now I feel like I'm king of the world. It was almost sort of a euphoric high.
Good.
So they're really stepping up these effervescences, these effervescent. I think so, yeah. But I'd like to be a human form of that. That sounds good.
It's odd that such a product that would get you that high comes from Germany. Because one thing you don't associate with German is extreme happiness.
Well, there's a staunch group, but the Bayer, of course, is an incredible company that's developed all kinds of
Bayer
wild products. So this is some new thing. I guess there was some kind of controversy that it potentially could damage your brain. But I'd almost say it's worth it if you feel good before that happens.
Feel good, yeah. Ride it till it pops.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. Whatever it is that you're riding that's about to pop.
It's about to pop, even if it's a horse.
It's a horse.
Overfilled with blood and maybe too much water.
Just be wearing a poncho.
Do horses drink milk after their children?
I don't know.
What do they call a baby horse again?
Foal.
So after a baby horse develops, I don't think it's drinking milk. If you overstuff it with milk, almost like a force feeding tube, like they do with the geese, for that pate, that goose liver pate, that thing could pop.
Yeah.
And it would be a mess. Imagine trotting down, you're trotting down. I mean,
it's like, hey, how was the ride? Oh, it was going great. And then my horse popped and milk got everywhere.
He's in a strict 30,000 gallon a day milk diet. It's gonna get a little.
That'll change the color from brown to.
When a horse's hoof becomes a bladder, then you know that there's a lot of
fluid. Then you got an issue. When the horse puts its foot down and there's just milk seeping out.
Now see, there's some folks out there that would get very disturbed by this, but this could easily be a human man.
It could.
Instead of a horse, and he puts his foot down and milk soaks out.
Yeah.
It's funnier with the horse because they trot, and they have the hooves and all that.
Reminds me of my days working at the Horizon Organic Milk Factory.
Really? You worked there?
I did.
Wow.
I did.
Oh.
Would have been cooler if I did.
Well, I was curious. I've seen some videos of milk factories, and they have those little beauties, and each has their own little area. Apparently, they like getting milked because they're so overswole.
I think I'd like getting milked if I was a cow.
I've milked myself.
I milked myself this morning. It's a great way to start the day.
Women actually can milk themselves, and some women try to maintain their lactating abilities after the period of where they would normally nurse their child.
My grandma had an impressive party trick and all that.
Wow.
So we're here. It's the big I Get Wet 10th anniversary tour.
Yes.
Did you think when that album came? Well, going back even before I Get Wet, you used to just come out with a boom box, right?
And you say a broomstick.
A broomstick.
Well, it was plugged into a speaker cable.
Yeah. No. Okay. It wasn't like an old school 80s big tape.
No, it was just a way. It was a portable CD player. But it was rounded. It was very important to me. I didn't want that blocky kind. I wanted because if you fall on that, you hit your head. You could cut your palm if you reached for it too quickly. So always those rounded modular round ball players were my preference, and they also tended to skip less than the older models. So I'd plug an 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch stereo cord in there, and that would be the drums, sometimes some keyboard, and then I would also usually have a drum machine and keyboard as well that I would play there live. But it was always very important to me to have some pre-recording because my fantasy was that I wasn't doing this alone, and having these backing tracks gave me that feeling of there being a band. That was my dream, and now I have the greatest rock and roll band in the world playing with me every night. So
you've got what? Is it an 8-piece band?
Let's see, 1 guitar player, 2 guitar player, 3 guitar player, 4 guitar player, bass player, drummer, singer, so 7. 8 including me. Okay. We have had, the biggest we ever had was 8 because we had an additional keyboard player for certain shows. But for this one I can handle all the keyboard duties.
Okay. Now did you think 10 years ago when it came out that it kind of started a feel-good revolution? Like you're just so unabashed in your desire to have fun and your desire for everybody else to have fun. And collectively you wrote a song about it called We Want Fun.
Yes, that's a fun song.
It's a fun song.
Yeah, and the funny thing is on this tour that you brought up that song, We Want Fun is the song that people have been chanting before we even start the show.
Really?
Once we finish, because we do play the I Get Wet album all the way through.
Yeah, and then you do like a few,
mixed
like 5
bag,
or 6.
Yeah, of other tunes from the other albums. But even after the I Get Wet album's done, they're chanting We Want Fun. And then even after we play the song, they chant an encore. I guess they wanted us to play it twice, so I might try that one of these next shows. But yeah, it's a joyful song. I feel like there's always been room for joyful music, and sometimes these currents rise and ebb, and we happen to pop up at a time when it wasn't rising, it was ebbing.
You were the rise.
Well, that's very nice of you to say. I mean, I don't know that how much influence I've had or this music has had in that regard, but I think maybe we were saying like, hey, it's exciting to have fun, and then people have also realized that themselves. Whether or not we helped them realize that is beyond the point. I just want there to be as much exciting, cheerful music as possible, and I'm very happy. The last 3-4 years, there's been a big explosion of songs about partying, songs with 4-on-the-floor beats, songs about fun and good mood, cheerfulness. So it's been great. I want the more the merrier when it comes to that.
So one of the songs on I Get Wet pays homage to my hometown, your current home.
Okay.
Obviously, I love New York City.
Oh, okay, yeah, right. No, I was thinking of a different place.
Bring me back to Piedmont. Piedmont, North Dakota.
Oh, sweet Piedmont.
But we're here in Philadelphia tonight. Now, there's a bit of a city rivalry. Are you thinking like maybe you got to change it to like I love Philly?
No,
do you ever get like booed if you're in Boston? You were in Boston a few days ago.
A strange thing happened actually. I do often ask the audience if they would like to sing I Love New York City about the city we're in or the state, to be more general. Sometimes we're playing in a place where it's a great city, but maybe a lot of people don't live actually in the city. So I love Michigan.
Yeah, your home state.
Right. And that seems more suited because there's actually very few people that actually lived in downtown Detroit at that show, which is probably for the best for them, not necessarily
I love Ann Arbor.
No, that doesn't sing so well. But when we did play in Ann Arbor, the one and only time we played in Ann Arbor, there's not really many venues for us to play there. And you're better off playing in Detroit for all kinds of reasons. But we did sing I Love Ann Arbor. The other day, though, what I was going to say is we played in Ohio. And I said, we have a choice now. We can sing I Love Ohio, which we've definitely done before.
Yeah.
I love Cleveland Town.
Okay.
Out of respect for, a city like this, which has a bit more city atmosphere. Mm-hmm. I try to differentiate between villages, towns, cities, and then just locations.
Yeah.
So, like if Piedmont, that might just be, I love Piedmont location. Oh yeah, and this is, with all due respect, it's not, the more people or the more buildings doesn't make a city better or worse. You can have a huge city that's awful. So a town,
Los Angeles.
A town, that is a town. It's quite spread out. So that can be much, just as good or better than a place I'd call a city. Anyway, so we said Ohio, Cleveland Town, or Giant Eagle. Now, Giant Eagle is a supermarket chain that started originally in the Pittsburgh area and then has actually moved west slightly and expanded into Ohio. I didn't know that they had started in Pennsylvania, where we are now, of course. I had thought that it was originally in Cleveland, and I had fallen in love with Giant Eagle from times I had spent in Cleveland recording, working, it's a
browsing the frozen food aisle.
Yes, for Marie Callender's frozen pork pot pies.
Ooh, Marie Callender makes some good stuff.
So I figured they'll want to do Cleveland Town or Ohio. They booed their own town. They booed their own state. And with such passion said, Giant Eagle, Giant Eagle, Giant. So you never know. It's always surprising. Tonight, they might prefer to sing about New York.
Yeah.
I might even offer them, or we could sing in Florida.
That's where your tour bus is from, I noticed.
Atlanta, Georgia is where that company is based. But yeah, you know, it's all
Florida
the same.
license plate.
If it's below, I guess at this point, Maryland, it's, you know, all like one big state down there. No, I'm kidding.
We love the South.
No,
all the
Florida's
different
fantastic.
states.
Yeah, all
there's 3 of them.
All their states down there.
All those states down there. Those places.
No, you know what? The Northeast, though, it reveals itself to me in a way that has continued to be inspiring and delightful and motivating. The history here, that this is the birthplace of this version of the country. You know, we don't really have other parts of the country that feel like this. You can get on a train and pretty much hit 6 or 7 of the most exciting, amazing, historic cities in the entire country back to back.
Yeah.
It's so dense and it's so fantastic, and Philly is by far one of the great cities for me in the entire country. There's a handful outside of New York that I've considered living in. And Philly is one of those, San Francisco is one of those, Rhode Island, Providence is one of those, but there's something magical. It's almost like the New Orleans of the Northeast, in a way. What's that place, Bill's Occult? That's a store, then a cult store.
Mm-hmm.
The potions. What is
a couple of blocks the other way.
They're called Bill's?
I don't remember.
Bob's?
Also, you're going to do some browsing, pick up a few knickknacks?
Well, they have, like, you know, evil stay away powder and money soap and
like soap.
It's on South Street. It's on South Street.
Yeah.
It's just further down.
Okay.
This is just one of the great cities for unique identity. You know, it's its own place, and you can tell it just by looking on, you know, outside the window.
Well, I have to say, going back to Michigan, my good friend Robin Joseph from Mrs. Fisher's Spanish class.
Oh wow!
Says hello.
Mrs. Fisher. Is that in high school?
That was high school.
Okay, yes, yeah. I tried to block out a lot of that time. But I've been trying to, well, for better or worse, it's been coming back in flashes, and most of them have been pretty good. Yeah. I remember Mrs. Fisher. I think she was the only teacher that almost failed me besides my U.S. history teacher.
Oh, really?
But it was because I was doing a horrible, terrible job.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't like a,
no,
Andrew.
Well, I don't think she liked me on top of that, but I certainly wasn't helping by the poor level of work and the low level enthusiasm, and you know, definitely an underlying and unmistakable tone of resentment about everything that was going on, because I did not want to be in school at that point.
I heard that you were kind of quiet back then. Did you say that?
Is that what they said?
That was what my friend Robin said.
So I guess that going.
That could also be just compared to what you are now, like anything.
I wasn't
that the energy.
I liked school a lot at the beginning, and then I had a lot more work that I wanted to do that wasn't at school, and a lot more people that were my friends that weren't in school, and that's when I started to resent it. And that's why I worked very hard and graduated 1 year early to get the hell out of there.
My friend Troy, my good friend Troy behind the camera, graduated high school and college 1 year early.
That's now he gets to do this, because to be honest, these were the kinds of things that I wanted to be doing, and you couldn't do them while in a classroom, let alone with homework and other assignments that are valuable, but there's a deeper value in your own interest, and if you discover that early on, which some people do, you have to protect that and not let it get overrun. And my parents were brilliant enough to not crush it, and the school I went to was you know, advanced enough not to crush it, and I worked hard enough to get out in time for it not to be crushed. But if you discover something you're interested in and you're passionate about, you gotta go. You gotta ride that horse till it pops.
Get milk all over anyone in your path.
And be warned, because milk, even after you take a shower, you will still smell it. It's that sour vomit smell that I've been smelling for a few days now.
Well, I don't want to keep you too much longer. You've got a show to go play. I do have one last question. If you were a professional wrestler, what would you call your finishing move?
Probably the party.
The party.
Or a boot party, maybe.
Party crasher?
Yeah, crash their head with my elbow, or give them a boot party where you sort of trot, jig around and
get them into the turnbuckle and just give them a boot party.
Or maybe just the ear rub, where I would just take my open palm. I wouldn't box their ears because they would go deaf immediately. Yeah. I would just start to slowly massage their ear.
They'd first be so taken aback.
I think they're like, oh, this is nice. But at the end, that ear would be so swollen and saturated with blood, they get an automatic cauliflower ear. Boom. Automatic cauliflower ear.
Instant cauliflower ear.
Instant cauliflower ear.
Hear that? If you want to look like you're a professional wrestler, just rub your ear a lot.
Oh
or
no,
not a
he's giving him
professional,
the
an
red
amateur
ear.
wrestler.
He's giving him the red ear. He's giving. Oh no!
Don't stop living in the red ear.
Yeah, that would be my finishing move. Just a juicy, distorted ear.
Nice. Well, this is the second time that we've spoken, so I can say this. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, sir. It's truly an honor to be able to
Likewise.
stand here.
Thank you. You're a joy.
Have an amazing show.
Thank you.
And party hard, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeehaw. The Cheap Pop.
Cheek pop.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Awesome.